Hello YouTubers, this is Triple Valve 62 at the depot saying mind the doors and welcome aboard the video today. Thanks for all your recent subscriptions and comments, really appreciate those, and I've been checking out some of your channels as well. Just want to really say thanks a lot really. Anyway, moving on to the video today. This is part 2 if you like of a recent video I did on the Hornby Colliery set, which is what you see before you here. Now I did say to you in the previous video about this, if you flip back through my videos you'll see I did a video, it was the second part of this one basically, in terms of why the loco that comes with the set had malfunctioned or wasn't working properly and we had some issues with it. Anyway, I've got a running and this is brilliant. I'm going to show you this today. So in case you're unfamiliar with it, this is the loco in question that comes with the set. I'll take the lid out of the way. It's a Fowler 4F. Technically 060, and there she is. This is the original loco that comes with the set and as factory manufactured, run number 44523. So 44523 is the original loco, as you can see here. That's the original one, and we had problems with this, if you can see in the previous videos. If you skip back, like I said, I'm not going to go into detail, but it shows you in the video the problems we had and the issues with it. One of the main issues I will tell you that I have with this loco, when it came with a set like this, it had a nasty Airfix tender motor in there. That's gone. That's out the way. That's actually been disintegrated. It's actually loco driving there now. Ooh! So I'm going to get this out in a minute and show you what I've done. But this is the loco that came with the set, 44523, the original Hornby Colliery set loco. I'm going to get her out of the box and show you what I've done. Done a few little cosmetic things on her, but I'm going to show you underneath the body what I've done, and then we'll do a little running video. Okay, so go and grab yourself a tea or a coffee or whatever you want to choose as your beverage. I'm not here to judge, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay guys, welcome back. Well, here she is out of the box, and one of the first things I chose to address, on the original model this little works plate was left black, so I just painted that silver to give that little bit of a colour, a little bit of relief there. Nothing really has changed. Oh, the front, we've done something different with the front here. We've got rid of the chunky Airfix coupling on the front, and we've put a NEM pocket coupling, as you can see on the front there, which is much more thinner, a bit better. Don't really run these tender first or have these on as a rule, but I stuck it on there for display. It does come off, but I probably will take that off at some stage and just have it without one, so it's coupling free at the front if you like. And just to give you a comparison, it's got the original Airfix coupling on the back there, which is a reminder that it is an old Airfix model. I want to leave that on there on purpose. Not really actually, because you can't actually change these over with the NEM pocket ones. A little bit difficult to do, but I thought I'd leave it on there, sod it. So that's got its original Airfix coupling on, and if you turn it over you can see that these are the original tender wheels from the Airfix motor, but they're freewheeling now. All of these just freewheel, as you can see. At some point I'm going to get some decent tender wheels and put in there, but for financial reasons I didn't want to spend too much on the loco than I've already done already. It's cost me an absolute bomb in loco drive wheels and crank pins and rods, and just generally been expensive. And then on top of that, it cost me about £43 for the motor and the £7 postage and packaging. So you can imagine I might as well have gone out and bought a brand new 4F from Hatton's for 58 quid. But I didn't want to do that because I wanted to prove that I could do a little project by myself. So what we've done inside the cab, on the last video, I made a comment that all the Hornby locos, mainly the railroad range ones, which is this basically based on, all the cabs were black in terms of no colour or leaf. So what I've done, I've just added a few details of my own there, as you can see. I'll try and bring the camera in a little bit, hopefully. Not too much, just a little bit of colour there, like the regulator, a few of the valves there, and the reversing lever or handle, that's been painted red. Just want to give it a little bit of colour on there, not too much, but just enough so it gives the eye a little bit of information. We've still got this drawbar system in between the tender and the loco. This is purely now for cosmetic reasons. There's no electrical connection now between the tender and the loco. So between the two, there's no electrical connection. So in fact, let's bring this out, sorry guys, apologies. If you look at that, technically it's an 060 loco pulling a wagon, if you like. The tender is nothing merely more than cosmetic, and it's as light as a feather. What I've done inside, I've even taken the tender weights out. There used to be two tender weights, one inside here, one inside there, at either end. They've gone. All that's in here literally now is just the chassis frame and the wheels. So this thing is as light as a feather. It literally is very light, very flimsy, but I want it to be like that for a reason. So if you look at this operationally wise, to make it in simple terms for you to understand, particularly the younger viewers who are watching this at home, the way this works now is there's no longer any electrical connections or wires between the loco and the tender, because number one, we don't have a tender motor in here anymore that relies on pickups from the loco. There's no need whatsoever for tender pickups. I'll show you why in a minute. But operationally, it's basically this: an 060 loco with a wagon. That's technically all it's doing. The main pulling power is in the loco, just like one of these, and the tender is acting like a wagon. Simple. Now what I'll do is I'll just simply remove the body. I'll take this off the frame and I'll show you what I've done inside. It's quite a little bit of work I've done, and you can see for yourself that it's not a hard thing to do and it can be done. So stay tuned. Dunk a biscuit, munch a sandwich, whatever you need to do. See you in a bit. Okay, this is really what cost me the most for this loco. As you can see, this is the complete motorised chassis that Peter Spares does from Hornby direct. As you can see, everything you look at here in the camera shot comes as is. Literally, when you receive it in the post, it comes like this. All the wheels and com rods and pins are securely attached. No need to muck about with those anymore. Couplings attached on the front there, but can be removed. The chassis is die cast, which is nice, and it's already quite heavy as it is. It's reasonably heavy, but there is scope to add in this area here. Just get me in a minute. This area here, you could technically put up a couple of lead weights stacked up about 2 or 3 high, so about say there in height wise. You could put some lead weight on the front there. Doesn't matter, you don't have to. And as you can see from the video in a minute I'll do afterwards, she runs lovely. Now this motor is what does the business. This is a lovely motor. It's got a cam integrated here, which gives a nice smooth drive directly down here to the cog that engages with the gear and gives it a nice solid running. All you've really got to do with this, I'll turn it around this way and show you what I've done. I literally soldered 2 wires directly to the motor terminals, one to the negative, one to the positive, and now basically run them underneath. You'll see 2 holes there, if you can see that at home. This is basically where the 2 wires from the motor are going to go down, and they actually correspond underneath here. I'm not going to take this off because it's a bit of a pain in the bum to put back together, it's a bit fiddly, but you remove the, you remove that screw in the middle. If you remove this screw, what happens is it then releases this plastic chassis plate on the bottom, and it reveals underneath the plate with the pickup wires for all 6 wheels. And then all you've got to do is technically solder those 2 wires from the motor. There's 2 little copper contacts, one here and one here on the other side of this plate. When you see those, just leave enough wire to solder directly 1 and 2, and that's it. That's all you need to do. No need for tender wires. This chassis does come with 4 wires, and the reason I've done 2 wires there is because it comes with an additional 2 wires that's designed if you want to run the wires from here to the tender, and put tender pickups on the model, then you can do that. But the guy in the Peter Spare shop, he said to me on the phone, oh, you need to buy some tender pickups, and you'll need a new tender chassis, and you need to buy this, you need to buy that. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take a chance and buy just the motor on its own, because I bet you I won't need those. So he said, okay, no problem, you're the customer. And what I'd done, very simply as mentioned, I soldered 2 wires from the pickups underneath, 1, 2, ran them up through the 2 holes there, and literally just soldered the wires to each terminal of the motor. What I would suggest is, once you've soldered the pickup wires on these particular motor drive units, the easiest way to do it is solder the 2 wires on the pickups first, and then run them up through the 2 holes, and then put the loco on a section of test track or your layout, switch a little bit of current on, and just play with the wires to see which way it goes. Obviously, if you put your controller in forward, you want the wires to correspond, and if you find that you're running it and it runs in the reverse direction, all you've got to do is swap the wires round, and hey presto, it should run in the correct sequence. So that's what I've done with mine, just found out which way it went, got the wires the right way round, soldered them to the motor terminals there, and that's job done. Now, in terms of why I don't need a tender pickup system for this model, is particularly very interesting, because when you buy this particular loco, the centre wheels, the middle wheels there, which is these wheels here, they come initially with a rubber traction tyre, and my new Hornby 4F, which is exactly the same as this model, as you've seen, it has traction tyres in the middle wheel. And I thought, many moons ago, there was a YouTube user, his name is Frobard, and his real name is Anders, lovely guy, lives in Switzerland. If you're watching this, big shout out to you, hope you're well, hope your family's well. He did a fantastic idea on his layout with these particular 060 Hornby locos, and he said the same as me, these come with a traction tyre, or whatever you want to call it, in the middle. And he said, why don't you take yours off from the middle wheel, and you'll find that when it goes across your point work, it won't stall. So that's what I did with mine. But as you can see on my particular model, it's got a slight groove in the middle wheel, which is totally different to the other running wheels. It's particularly manufactured that way because it's designed to take a traction tyre. And you notice the wheels either side are of normal plain flange type. Now, I thought, let's be nosy, let's get a pair of tweezers and just slightly lift up one of these tyres from the wheel and see what's underneath. And when I did that, when I actually looked underneath, I realised, to my shock and horror, the actual wheel is the exact same as the rest of the driving wheels. It's an exact wheel as the same one next to it. So for some reason they stuck this traction tyre on there, and it basically does nothing. So when I lifted it up, I thought, you know what, let's get rid of that. Then we can have 3 wheels either side, totaling 6 pickups on the whole thing. And when I actually took the thing apart to, as mentioned, fit the pickup wires, I noticed that each wheel has, I'll show you this, prove I'm not lying, can you see that? On the middle wheel, either side there, there's 1 and there's 2. There's 2 pickup wipers. So I thought to myself, why would Hornby design and manufacture an 060 chassis for a 4F loco that has centre traction tyres, but has pickups? Because technically it's not picking up anything if the surface of this wheel is not making good contact electrically with the rail on either side. So therefore it's not picking up, and it's going to stall on point work. That's why they've cheated and said, oh, you could put the tender wires in there and then it won't matter. No. So what we've done, I quite correctly locked these traction tyres off and threw them as far as I could out the window on either side. And as you can see, we've now got 6 shiny, beautifully profiled wheels all the way around the loco. So nuts to Hornby with their silly traction tyres in the middle, and they'd fit pickup wheels in the first place. What I'm saying is, in plain English, folks, there's no point in having a centre pickup on these centre wheels here and having them fitted with pickups. If you're going to have traction tyres on there, it defeats the object. Lock the damn things off. because when this goes over your insel frog points, which are plastic, the thing won't stall and you won't need a tender pickup system. So to prove that I'm not lying, I'm going to put this back together and I'm going to run it at a very cruel speed across my points, which are insel frog, and you will see for yourselves. I rest my case. See you soon. Okay, before we do any running, I wanted to show you the surgery I performed on this particular loco, because obviously, if you can imagine, that is an awful lot of space that's going to take up, just that block section here with the motor, the flywheel and the gearing. That little section there is quite hefty in terms of space, so to fit it in here you're going to have to do a little bit of cutting. So if we look at it from the side profile, first of all, this area here, inside here, there was a long weight, a lead weight that goes to the smoke box door, and it goes all the way along, and it originally clipped to a chassis, the plastic free running chassis that used to be in there. So what we had to do was do a little bit of butchering. It doesn't look pleasant from this angle, but it's not designed to be, and I basically had to cut away the boiler section underneath. As you can see from where I've cut it, that area there I cut and filed and trimmed out. You'll see in the middle there's a hole, not the one to your left but the one to your right of the camera there. I'll bring it up closer. That little centre hole there, that was a little thread that used to screw onto the chassis through the lead weight. If you remove that, that should in theory then slot your motor through there and give that clearance. The firebox throat plate area, that's where the main part of the motor is going to sit, and then from that little plastic threaded hole there, from there onwards, that's where you need to cut the boiler bottom wise out and just up to that plate there. And from a side profile, all I had to do was take a file and just gently profile where I'd cut till it was reasonably flat and level, and check it, and just keep slowly filing that with a flat file to get the profile half decent. And as you can see, it's not bad at all. All I've done, as you can see, where the boiler originally came to the bottom there, you can see that's where it originally went down, and all I've done was basically file that out and cut that, trim it, and just file it to that level. It's not 100% perfect, but I think it looks alright. It's not too bad. Okay, so I'll stop this and then we'll see it running. Okay everyone, well, she's on the layout, on the track. Apologies for the background noise, that's that brake fan which is over there. One of the misfortunes of having these sound effect chips in it, it just doesn't shut up until it shuts off itself, so please ignore that. As you can see, it's over there, and I've got this at about 45 on my Gauge Master simulator and brake controller. That's better. Can be a bit annoying sometimes, that noise. Anyway, I'm going to take the brakes off and I'm going to let this loco speak for itself, and this proves that all my wiring and hard work works. So let's take the brakes off and just let her take a spin. And you can hear how quiet she is. I'm running this at this speed because I want to show you what you can get out of her in terms of slow speed, everything working. And you could never ever do this with an Airfix motor. I've not seen one you could do with an Airfix motor like this. And she's absolutely faultless. Here she comes. Now remember, all my points are insel frogs, standard Hornby points. Look at that. She runs beautifully. I have to start off the brake pan again. Right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take the brakes off slightly and I'll give her a little bit more throttle. It's about 45 now. As you can hear, apart from that sound effects chip you can hear in the background, she's really quiet. Look at that. Now that I'm real well pleased with. And you know what? I could have gone out, I could have spent the money, say 65 quid including postage. I could have got a brand new one from Hatton's, but it wouldn't have been the original running number and the one that came with the set. So by doing this you've kept the original loco but just made it more better. And it's still got the Airfix wheels on the tender and the Airfix coupling on the rear, which gives a little nod to its former original state. But look at that, she's gorgeous. Well happy. Like I mentioned before, one of the previous videos, there was part of me that was really tempted to get the airbrush out and give it a little bit of a weathering, but you know what, I'm probably going to leave it as it is because its original condition was that came with the set, so I'm probably not going to touch that. The only thing I might do is add some headlamps on the front there, some little lamps and some fire irons maybe in the tender, and a crew, and that might be it. But you know, look at that, she's absolutely cracking. Well happy. Anyway, while I've got the video camera out, I guess you could call this an update video as well if you like, not officially, but I'll throw this one in as bonus footage with the video you're watching now. Some little add-ons I've done in the coal yard. May or may not have shown you the tree there we've got in place. That was an old tree, used to be under the layout somewhere. I found that actually underneath the baseboard there. It was fallen to bits, it lost all its leaves and so forth as it were, so I just dumped it in some PVA glue, gave it some more woodland scenic treatment, and hey presto, we've got a new tree there. So that lives there. And the other day, or yesterday in fact, these ratio coal sacks arrived, which I painted, and we've now got some coal sacks there waiting to be collected by the coal lorry for taking to the houses and towns and residential areas, no doubt. All I did basically was painted them again with some Hammerite paint, and we got some more there. And our little sack barrow man, which is this man here, I don't know what we should call him. If you could think of a name, what I should call my operative here in the coal yard of his barrow, if you should think of a name for him, nothing too rude, drop me a message and we'll do it. Because he used to live over here in that spot there, but he's gone now. He's been faithfully employed in the coal yard, so there he is. Okay. What else did I make? Oh yeah, I've got to show you this. Hang on, let's just come over here a minute before I forget. Let's go back to the workbench. Now, who at home watching this video has seen or has in their house somewhere under the sink, you know those little bottle cleaners you get that come with that sort of shape, and on the end of it you get a little spindly brush type thing that you can clean out bottles, babies bottles mainly, and domestic bottles you can also clean as well. But anyway, now my daughter's 4, don't need those anymore, and I found this particular one lying in the kitchen drawer the other day, and I thought rather than chuck it out, what was on the end of this, I had a really great idea, and I'll show you what I've done. It's something that's going to be very handy for the next couple of months because Christmas is fast approaching, and I thought wouldn't it be great to have one of these. It's a Christmas tree, and all that was basically, guys, it was on the end of this wire handle type thing, and I just basically, but I'd leave it on the handle as it is, so you can dunk it without getting your fingers or anything dirty, into some PVA, spin it around, give it a shake, and then simply transfer it into a jar of woodland scenic material and shake the thing up and down inside the jar to coat it in material if you like. The same process if you do cooking at home, you know, you get the old chicken and you put it in the old seasoning and you dunk it and just swirl it around. Same thing basically with the scatter material on there. And what I've done, I've hand painted different coloured simulated lights or Christmas tree decorations, whatever you want to call it. Just simply got some colours out the old paint box and just dabbed those on there with a paintbrush, and hey presto, we've got a Christmas tree. So what I'm going to do, this is going to go on the layout at somewhere I'm going to find, probably in the churchyard maybe somewhere. Well, I'm sure I'll find a suitable place to position that, and that'll be a little Christmas decoration for the layout for Christmas. So there we go, still some more work to do on that, but that's the basic principles of it. So if you see these at pound shops or anywhere, grab them because they are fantastic. And even if you don't want to make a Christmas tree out of them, you can still coat these in PVA and put your favourite scatter material on them, and they make brilliant little fir trees for the garden or for anywhere on the layout. They're brilliant, and it's a nice, easy, simple way to do it. It took me about 10 minutes to do that from start to finish. Literally, dunk it in the PVA, swirl it around, little shake, and then transfer it into a jar of woodland scenic material. And again, the whole process was done while this was still attached, so this is what makes life easier. You can do it from this end, so you ain't going to get dirty or any bit go over your hands or get messy. You can use this to do the whole operation with you dunking it in the glue, transferring it to the scenic material, using it with that. And then once it's dry, I used the loop end of that. I hung it up on a little hook there like that, for example, and it can just hang there and dry. That's what I've done with mine. And then once it was dry, pair of pliers and just clipped it off. It's that simple, guys. It's really easy to do. That's a little fun project I did. Thought I'll show you that. The other little idea I did was I had under the layout was it's one of those, you know, those cheap what do they call them, static grass applicators. The ones from Knock are mega expensive, so at the time I didn't have the money to buy one of those. So someone had the idea of getting a fly swatter and putting a tea strainer on the end of the attachment and wiring it up. And it didn't work too well, but the only thing it turned out was it became rather dangerous because you could get quite a nasty little zap off it. So I didn't really use it, and I thought, what can we do? So I took it apart and chucked it away. But the LED in it, I found a use for that. Guess what? The LED now is going to be living over here in our goods yard. And what I've done, I've simply drilled a hole through that buffer stop there, ran the wires down, which is concealed by this vegetation, you can't see it, and wired them up to one of the goods yard lamps, and hey presto, when you flick a switch, it lights up. So as you can see, we've now got a buffer stop lamp. Very easily done, and another little bit of lighting for the layout in that area. Really easy to do. So that can get thrown away. That got put to good use, and you can turn it off as well. Okay, that's pretty much it, and I'm going to leave you now with this 4F running around still, quite faithfully, happily, and she's very happy. Right, that's all from me, and I'll see you later.